Today, we're going to explore how Port Klang's growth in container throughput impacts global trade patterns. As one of the busiest ports in Southeast Asia, Port Klang plays a significant role in shaping regional and global trade dynamics. Let's start with Port Klang's strategic position. Located along the Straits of Malacca, it connects major trade routes between India and China. This strategic location enhances its role as a regional trade hub, supporting the growth of intra-Asian trade and reinforcing Malaysia's position in regional logistics. Port Klang's growth also impacts regional competition. Despite Singapore's advanced technology and strong global partnerships, Port Klang challenges Singapore's dominance by offering competitive pricing and strategic location. This competition drives innovation and efficiency improvements, benefiting shippers and traders by providing more options and better services. Port Klang is essential for both domestic and global supply chains, contributing significantly to industry output and economic stability. Its growth helps maintain supply chain resilience by providing a reliable and efficient route for goods, especially during global disruptions like the Red Sea crisis. The expansion of Port Klang contributes to Malaysia's economic growth by attracting foreign direct investments and creating jobs. Investments in port infrastructure not only increase capacity but also enhance the country's appeal as a global maritime and logistics hub. As Port Klang continues to grow, it faces challenges such as maintaining operational efficiency and adapting to shifts in global trade patterns. However, this growth also offers opportunities for further expansion and innovation, potentially attracting more trade and investment into the region. Port Klang experienced significant growth in container throughput between 2005 and 2010. This period marked a transformative era for the port as it solidified its position as a key player in Southeast Asia's maritime trade network. Driven by infrastructure upgrades, regional economic integration, and Malaysia's strategic location along global shipping routes, Port Klang emerged as a vital hub for both domestic and international trade. From 2005 to 2010, Port Klang's container throughput grew steadily, reflecting the increasing importance of Malaysia as a trade gateway in Southeast Asia. In 2005, the port handled approximately 5.8 million TEUs. By 2010, this figure had surged to 8.5 million TEUs, representing a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of around 7 to 8% during this 5-year period. This growth was fueled by rising intra-Asia trade, Malaysia's expanding economy, and increased transshipment activity. The port's performance was not without challenges, however. The global financial crisis of 2008 temporarily disrupted global trade flows, leading to a slight dip in throughput in 2009. Despite this setback, Port Klang demonstrated resilience, rebounding strongly in 2010 as global trade recovered. The ability to adapt to external shocks underscored the port's robust operational framework and strategic positioning. A key driver of Port Klang's growth during this period was its focus on infrastructure expansion and modernization. Two major terminal operators, Westports and Northport, played pivotal roles in enhancing the port's capacity and efficiency. Westports invested heavily in deepening berths and upgrading equipment to accommodate larger vessels. By 2010, the terminal operator had expanded its container handling capacity significantly, enabling it to serve post-Panamax ships that were becoming increasingly common in global shipping. Northport modernized its facilities, incorporating advanced logistics systems and automation technologies. These improvements allowed the terminal to handle higher volumes of cargo while reducing turnaround times for vessels. Additionally, the development of the Port Klang Free Zone, PKFZ, bolstered the port's role as a logistics and manufacturing hub. The PKFZ attracted multinational corporations and facilitated seamless integration of warehousing, distribution, and export activities, further driving containerized trade. Port Klang's growth was closely tied to Malaysia's participation in regional trade agreements and economic partnerships. The implementation of the ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, AFTA, in the mid-2000s removed tariff barriers within the region, boosting intra-ASEAN trade. As a result, Port Klang became a preferred gateway for goods moving between ASEAN member states and other regions. Between 2010 and 2015, Port Klang solidified its position as one of Southeast Asia's leading maritime hubs, demonstrating steady growth in container throughput despite challenges such as global economic uncertainties and increasing regional competition. This period was marked by significant infrastructure investments, strategic modernization efforts, and Malaysia's continued integration into global trade networks. As a result, Port Klang not only maintained its status as Malaysia's premier port but also enhanced its competitiveness on the international stage. The container throughput at Port Klang grew consistently from 8.5 million TEUs in 2010 to approximately 11.2 million TEUs in 2015, reflecting a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of around 6%. This steady increase was driven by rising intra-Asia trade, Malaysia's growing economy, and the port's ability to attract transshipment traffic. In 2010, Port Klang was ranked the 13th largest container port in the world, reflecting its significant role in global trade. By 2015, it had moved up to the 12th position, highlighting its continued growth and importance. However, the period was not without challenges. Global economic headwinds, including the lingering effects of the 2008 financial crisis, slowed growth rates in 2012 and 2013. Additionally, fluctuations in commodity prices and geopolitical tensions impacted trade volumes during this time. Despite these obstacles, Port Klang demonstrated resilience, leveraging its strategic location and operational efficiencies to sustain growth. By 2014, West Ports had begun handling ultra-large container vessels, marking significant milestones in its capacity to manage large shipments. A cornerstone of Port Klang's success during this period was its commitment to infrastructure modernization and capacity expansion. The two primary terminal operators, West Ports and North Port, played pivotal roles in enhancing the port's capabilities. West Ports completed Phase 2 of its container terminal expansion, adding deeper berths capable of accommodating larger vessels, including post-Panamax ships. Advanced equipment, such as super post-Panamax cranes, was introduced to improve handling efficiency. By 2015, West Ports had emerged as one of the most technologically advanced terminals in the region, capable of serving ultra-large container ships. North Port focused on improving operational efficiency through automation and digitalization. Investments in logistics systems and streamlined processes reduced vessel turnaround times and enhanced cargo handling capabilities. These improvements allowed North Port to handle higher volumes of containerized cargo while maintaining competitive service levels. Between 2015 and 2020, Port Klang navigated a dynamic period marked by both opportunities and challenges. As Malaysia's largest port, Port Klang continued to play a pivotal role in Southeast Asia's maritime trade network. While container throughput generally trended upward during this period, the port faced significant disruptions from global trade tensions, economic uncertainties, and the unprecedented impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Port Klang's container throughput grew steadily from 11.2 million TEUs in 2015 to approximately 13.1 million TEUs in 2019. However, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020 disrupted global supply chains, leading to a decline in throughput to 12.0 million TEUs that year. This represented a contraction of nearly 8% compared to 2019, underscoring the profound impact of the pandemic on global trade. Despite the setback in 2020, the overall trajectory between 2015 and 2020 reflected a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of approximately 3 to 4%, driven by rising intra-Asia trade, Malaysia's economic development, and the port's ability to attract transshipment volumes. The port's performance during this period highlighted its adaptability in responding to external shocks while maintaining its position as one of Southeast Asia's busiest ports. A key factor behind Port Klang's sustained growth was its focus on modernizing infrastructure and expanding capacity. Both West Ports and North Port, the port's primary terminal operators, invested heavily in upgrading facilities to accommodate larger vessels and improve operational efficiency. West Ports completed Phase 3 of its container terminal expansion, adding deeper berths capable of handling ultra-large container ships, ULCS. Advanced equipment, such as automated stacking cranes and superpost Panamax cranes, was introduced to enhance cargo handling capabilities. By 2020, Westports had emerged as one of the most technologically advanced terminals in the region, capable of serving some of the world's largest vessels. Northport focused on digital transformation and automation, implementing artificial intelligence, AI-driven systems for logistics and cargo tracking. These innovations reduced turnaround times for vessels and improved the efficiency of container handling. Additionally, Northport expanded its RoRo, roll-on/roll-off, facilities to support Malaysia's growing automotive exports. Despite its achievements, Port Klang faced several challenges between 2015 and 2020. The escalating US-China trade war disrupted global supply chains and redirected trade flows unevenly. While some diverted cargo benefited Southeast Asian ports, including Port Klang, the overall impact was mixed. Fluctuations in commodity prices and slowing global economic growth during 2018 to 2019 impacted trade volumes, particularly in non-containerized cargo sectors such as palm oil and petroleum products. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 caused widespread supply chain disruptions, leading to a sharp decline in global trade volumes. Lockdowns, labor shortages, and logistical bottlenecks further exacerbated the challenges faced by Port Klang. Despite these obstacles, Port Klang demonstrated remarkable resilience. Its strategic investments in infrastructure, digitalization, and sustainability ensured that it remained competitive even in challenging times. Additionally, the port implemented health and safety protocols to minimize the impact of the pandemic on operations, ensuring continuity of services.